sometimes it's quite visible, and it's wider meaning of mind and Hello, today I want to talk about how important to understand Japanese usage of Qi if you're practicing Shiatsu or Qi-gong or Kikou or karate or any other practice using the term Qi. The reason why I'm doing this one, I've started this video series, what is Qi in Japan, is because I went to a course of Shiatsu in England, and I've seen the people there, including students and teachers. Both students and teachers couldn't explain what the Qi is, and it's quite different, and they are not getting. I could see question marks in their head. They couldn't get the grasp the concept of Qi, because we have I'm from Japan, and then I'm brought up in Japan, and I've been living within the Qi culture. We use Qi all the time, and we are surrounded by Qi. And also without Qi we can't really get friends, or we can't be within the culture. So we know how to use Qi, and then if someone said, if a teacher, if you're learning something like martial arts or something, then if the teacher says, oh, this is Qi, you have to use Qi, then we instantly understand, yes, okay, we have to use Qi. And then there is something, Qi is in our mind somewhere, and it's quite difficult to understand. So that's why I've been using a lot of expressions and examples of how to use Qi, because it's quite it's really hard to grasp if you're just saying, this is Qi, this is a definition of Qi, and then it's quite difficult because there is no translation of Qi. Yes, people say, yes, translation is energy or power or pressure, finger pressure, but it's not exact meaning of Qi, Japanese Qi. So translation is quite tricky sometimes, because English and Japanese, or any translations, we have to force to find out the similar meaning, and then let the people know, yes, this is a translation of this, and this is translation of Qi. It's quite easy if you're talking about fruit, apple, the ringo is Japanese apple, so ringo is translated to apple. That's same, but Qi is different because there is no Qi culture in England. So I thought it's quite important to understand what is Qi, and if you know the examples when Japanese people are using Qi, and when you use the term Qi, then it's quite easy to understand and grasp the Qi concept of Qi. So I've written down two meanings. The one of them is a generic term for something between physical and spiritual power. So the physical power and spiritual power, but it's not them. There is spiritual power and then physical power. That's in between, something in between them, and it's going somewhere around in between. So it's not, and it's not energy. So I said something. So it's generic term for something between physical and spiritual power, and it's power, or pressure. And the second meaning is a useful word to describe unscientific power. So that means it's very useful to say, this is key. Because if you say, if you look at if you touch the scene in someone's arm and say, here's key flowing, that's easy. Now, if you say lymph flow or blood flow or sign or something like a pressure, you feel pressure, or muscle contract. It's quite difficult to say, there is a muscle contract here, and there is a blood flow here, and blood flow is stuck here. But you don't know which one of them. You don't know if it's blood flow or lymph or anything. We can't see. So if it's quite easy to say, this is key. Key is flowing. And it doesn't matter if it's scientifically proven or not. Because this is this is Eastern medicine, and Eastern medicine is developed in Asian countries, and Chinese people stopped saying Eastern medicine, because if they say Eastern, that means Japan to them. So to avoid saying Japanese, they used the term Chinese. So they automatically excluded Japanese. So that's why it's quite different. We say Eastern medicine, and Chinese people say Chinese medicine. So now in Eastern medicine, the science is Western science was not introduced at the time. So that we know there is something going on. So that's why we say it's there is key flowing, and it's something in between physical and mind. So mind and body, and we consider the mind and body is connected to each other, because if your mind is closed, and if your mind is really hard, or if you're depressed or you're tired, and your muscle will be contracted. So it's quite understandable. And then if you're having, or if you're if you're not like a standing, and if you're doing like this, and your mind will close. So that's how we consider, and so key is something going in between body and mind, and then also it's quite important to understand spirit. That translation of Seishin is translated to spirit, but in Japanese term, Seishin it doesn't include ancestors or religious something. So I think the Western people think about the Asian cultures and something's related to Buddhism or Taoism or Japanese Shinto or something, but not everything is related to religion, including Yakult. Yakult is a scientific drink, and it's not something mysteriously done from Buddhism or anything. It's a drink. So the same thing happens to spirit. Seishin, Japanese Seishin, is not as much spirit as English spirit. Spirit is including something ghost or something mysterious or ancestors or religions, but Seishin is more about your mind. Well, you have body now. You have mind. That's all. So it's quite important. You don't get confused about it. And yes. So and not everyone in Japan can see Qi. It's like there is people practicing Reiki or Kikou or Qi-gong. They will say, oh yes, I can see Qi, or I can see the color of Qi, or I can see, I can feel Qi, very strong. But most of the Japanese people don't see it or don't feel it. I think only when if you do like this and you feel warmth or pressure. So it's that we call Qi, and if someone practices more and more Qi, then they might see eventually they might see some color or something. But most of the people don't do that. Don't practice Qi. I mean, in this kind of Qi. So, but we understand that there are some people understand, and there are some people knows how to control Qi and how to see Qi, and then some people can have a very strong Qi by practicing it. And then also I need to say that it's more like heart. You know, the scientifically the heart is, we don't know where heart is. It's coming from brain. I think scientifically it's brain, but we feel like it's heart is your mind. Heart is somewhere around the chest. So it's something like that. And the Qi is more, it's wider meaning, has wider meaning, and it's sometimes quite visible. If someone's Qi is very strong, then if he or she is talking loudly and wearing kind of vivid color and walking like this and behaving like they have voice and behaving like they're the boss, top of the group. It doesn't matter the company or some kind of friendship or community or anything. They think they're above everyone. That's the person with very strong Qi and strong Qi. In Japanese culture, if you say this person's Qi is very strong or Qi is strong, means they're arrogant. arrogant, loud, annoying. So so now if someone's key is very weak, and then someone's has very weak voice, and walking like the closing their mind, and easily tricked. But sometimes in Japanese culture it happens. Some people trying to behave like Ki is strong, but they're actually weak. And people are whispering about that person. He looks like he strong person, but his mind is quite weak, or there's something opposite, and he looks really timid, but he's actually quite strong inside. So yeah, and determined or assertive. So yes, it's quite complicated, but sometimes it's quite visible, and it's wider meaning of mind and hurt. And or sometimes as I explained in other videos, it's something about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So you put yourself in someone else's shoes and think about what they like. They treat. We treat someone, or we think about someone and someone's preferences, and then prepare something for them, or they just pay for them, or they or leave the spot if they want to. So that kind of things, we call it, we use Ki, and it's not visible all the time. So so it's quite important, I think. In conclusion, I think it's quite important, it's quite useful to learn about Japanese Ki, and this Ki culture is developed in Japan and nowhere else. It doesn't matter if you're learning Shiatsu or karate or Bushido or judo or Korean what was that? Taekwondo or Qi-gong, Chinese Qi-gong. It's quite useful to understand the usage of Japanese Ki. So then you will automatically, instantly get the idea of what is Ki. And you don't go away. You don't go away with fairies. You don't stop thinking and start saying, and this is ancestors or Japanese religions or no, it's not religious. It's not ancestors. It's a power, but sometimes it's visible and sometimes it's not visible. So yeah, this is what I think. How important learning Japanese Ki. If you're learning Shiatsu, or if you're practicing Shiatsu. So next time I will talk about more Ki expression about Ki. So see you later. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, don't forget to click on the like button or share on the SNS, or subscribe to this YouTube channel to get updates when it's uploaded. Hopefully see you next time.